And we're live in 5, 4.
Good evening and welcome to 3030 News on BBC. My name is Violetta Abinaked and tonight we'll be taking you through a special journey through the Mesozoic era. This was the first age of the dinosaurs, before the movie Jurassic Park and the Universal Studios ride. And tonight, for the first time, we will be using a time machine and sending two renowned geologists back in time. The Mesozoic era is made up of three periods, the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous. Tonight, Robin and Veronica, who both have PhDs in paleontology, will be taking us through all they've learned throughout their journey through time. According to the geologic timescale, the Mesozoic, or Middle Life era, came between the Paleozoic and the Cenozoic eras. Tonight, we're going to go deeper through the periods in order to more understand the roots of dinosaurs. And I believe we now have a Facebook status telling us that they have now reached the Mesozoic era. Let's go live to Robin and Veronica in the field to see what they've come up with. Robin?
But I wonder when Pangea was formed. I believe it was the Mesozoic era, which was part of the Phanerozoic eon. The Mesozoic era lasted from 65 million years ago to 251 million years ago. But I really wonder what on earth changed the world into the Mesozoic era.
Well, actually, that would be the extinction. That would be the extinction of the Permian era, and that killed about 90% of all species. But we did see lots of ferns, angiosperms as well. Back to you.
I think we should visit each era and tell you a little bit about the climate and the types of animals that were alive. Well, will we see dinosaurs? Absolutely, because the Mesozoic era is actually the age of the reptiles.
Thank you, Robin and Veronica. We'll be back to you shortly. The Triassic was a time of tremendous change and rejuvenation as the so-called Great Dying repopulated the planet. Corals first appeared in the seas, and one of the major food chains that still remains today, phytoplankton.
What looks like a landscape that you typically would have found during the Triassic period. The Triassic period lasted from 199 to 251 million years ago. The Triassic climate was known as hot, arid and dry, and the reason for that was that sea levels at the time were low. The interior of the land was very hot, much like a desert environment you see before you now. One of the first big changes that you see are the fact that you see the rise of the archosaur. As you see, the archosaur is actually the relative of what would later become the dinosaurs and the crocodiles of the later Mesozoic era. And I think it sounds a little like...
This is the Coleophysis, known as one of the first dinosaurs, traveled in packs and was a biped carnivore. It grew up to 9 feet and weighed about 100 pounds. Probably fed on small reptiles and amphibians. It showed up about 225 million years ago.
I believe the Coleophysis sounded a little like...
Going back to dive into the Jurassic, the real age of thriving dinosaurs, Pangea continued to break up as Laurasia now turned into North America and Eurasia. Sea levels rose, bringing about a more tropical climate. Small mammals scurried underneath the giant feet of dinosaurs, unknowing to the fact that soon enough they will rule the planet. Now let's head back to Robin and Veronica to learn a little bit more about the Jurassic period. Robin and Veronica?
Now, to the Jurassic period. The Tinosaurus, and the pterosaurs. Tinosaurus means winged lizard. It was one of the very first pterosaurs. These reptiles could fly. And it was one of the earliest vertebrates to be able to fly and not just glide. Their wingspan was around 2 feet long and they weighed about 4.5 pounds. I believe I see one over there now. Notice the wingspan. Its skin's outstretched over a long finger found on a digit in their hands and attached to their torso. How magnificent.
Period, Cretaceous. This marked the end of all dinosaurs as we know them and brought about the rule of mammals on the Earth. 65 million years ago, a giant crater smoldered on what would now be known as the Yucatan Peninsula. Whether or not the asteroid or comet that carved the Chicxulub crater caused the extinction of more than half of the planet's species at the end of the Cretaceous is still up for scientific debate. What isn't up for debate is that many ancestors to birds, reptiles, and modified amphibians from our world today thrived in the Cretaceous period. Veronica has much more to tell us on this fascinating and much studied period. Veronica?
Cretaceous. Damn it, fly! Damn it, fly! Those did evolve in this era too. But anyways, we'd like to thank this period because a lot of the plants that we saw at that time we see today. Nonetheless, this is a flower, or was. Poor thing, looks all dried up. But it was a flower.
The Cretaceous period brought some of the largest dinosaurs of the Mesozoic era. One of the dinosaurs, although not so large, pictured here is the Pachycephalosaurus. Whoa, it's frightening. And of course, our favorite and most recognizable species from this period. Everyone knows him, everyone loves him, and everyone fears him. Tyrannosaurus Rex. We are nearing the end of our journey. I wanted to bring your attention to the drastic changes that the world saw during this era.
About 67% of all species extinct during that time, and that was including the dinosaurs that we saw today as well.
However, the dinosaur species that went extinct during this KT extinction 65.5 million years ago actually gave rise to the birds and lizards and crocodiles that you see in the world today. Not to mention the flowering plants, conifers, and large redwood forests. Oh my goodness gracious! I better get out of this time form or I will be extinct as well. Good to see you! Dang it! The KT extinction is happening as we speak now. I must get away. No! First of all, we want to apologize for the fact that we could only use two-dimensional dinosaurs in our examples during the periods in the Mesozoic era. However, our license with the Los Angeles Museum of Natural History was revoked, sadly.
But on the flip side, no animals were harmed in the making of this video. Hey,
Have a good day.
you have yourself a jolly day and happy holidays.
Thank you so much, Robin and Veronica, and we hope to see you back in the studio safe and sound. This has been Violetta Abi Naked hosting 3030 News on BBC. We hope to see you next week for the live, uncut interview with Brangelina and their 4... No, wait. Angelina just changed her status to 5 foreign children. Good night, and see you next time on the world's #1 newscast, BBC. What isn't up for debate? What isn't for debate? What isn't up for debate?
Well, I can tell you that. Well, I can tell you that. You see,
And small mammals scurried underneath the big feet. Period. Robin and Veronica? No, not right now.
Why?
I told you not yet. I said stop filming. Alright, that's fine. We'll just leave it in there.
Why?
Sounds a little like.
Sounds a little like.